Sometimes you need a little bit more punch than HP5 Plus or XP2 Super. So today I'm shooting with Delta 400. Now why Delta 4... Whoa! Why did I fall off this cliff? Why Delta 400? Used it a lot in the past and it's a very, very good film. For some reason I've stopped using it. Now I have kept a photo diary for about 10 years and I write things in it. That's what you do with a diary, typically. Brilliant, Steve. And anyway, what I wrote about films a few years ago, probably about 15 years ago now, was the following.
After the Pembrokeshire trip in September, I wanted to experiment a bit more with film choices and tried out a number of options, including Delta 100, Acros 100, Delta 400 and T-Max 400. A short spell of testing in the darkroom and I opted to use Delta 400 as the standard film for most subjects due to its excellent sharpness and fine grain, hardly discernible from the slower films at a 16-inch enlargement size.
So as you can see, hopefully, I had a fondness for Delta 400, but for some reason I forgot about it. Well, I haven't anymore and I brought it out today because I think it's perfect. Right, well, let's cover some of the basics. Camera for the day, no surprise, is a Nikon F80. Unusually though, for me, I've got my 28-105 D Nikkor on. Do you know, I have gone so simple today. I have just got the lens, I've got no filters. I've got no filters. Did I say got no filters? I've got no filters and I'm using it in aperture priority and I'm just snapping away, enjoying myself. And I've even rated the film at 400, which is the box speed, because of developing an X-Toll, and that gives a nice little boost. Hopefully the skies will be fine, but based on past experiences, I'm sure they will be. Now, Delta 400 is typically a bit Delta 400 is typically a little bit finer grained than HP5 Plus. It will depend on the conditions you're shooting in, the developer, but overall it's a little bit sharper and finer. But that isn't really why I'm shooting with it today, because I love HP5 Plus and I've got XP2 Super when I want super smoothness and lack of grain. But what I want today is a bit of punch. It was lacking a bit of contrast earlier on. Sod's law, it's brightened up now. But Delta 400, as I've used in the past and I've seen in the past, has a little bit more contrast naturally. Now, the Delta films are modern T-grain films, and when I say modern, we're talking late 80s here, so relatively modern. But they are a flatter structure. The grain is layered more thinly, so it is possible to get a finer, sharper image. Unlike the old style films like HP5 Plus and FP4, where they're clumpy grains. It's a different look altogether. It's a bit more clinical in some cases, and some people say it looks a bit more digital, but I disagree. Especially with Delta 400, it's got a really sharp, bitey look. And I'd actually say for things like cityscapes, it would be my first choice. I must admit, I'm feeling very enthusiastic today, for some reason. Not complaining. Very often, I feel a bit meh. I know I'm usually going on about travelling light and handheld with these 35mm cameras, but I've got the tripod today because I'm not going very far. And thank goodness, because it means I can use f/16, 30th of a second, foreground to background sharp, hopefully. Oh, ha, ha, ha. Now, something about this shot, it is quite contrasty. I do have foreground, which is got some deep shadows. I do have a background sky, which is bright. I am going to possibly struggle to get that sky down with Delta 400. However, it is a cleanly defined skyline, very easy to mask in the likes of Lightroom, especially now with that sky masking feature. Also not too bad in the darkroom, because I can use a piece of card and I can bring it up and down just to burn that sky in quite evenly. So yeah, even though I preferred XP2 for this one, I think I can do it with Delta. Well, that's a really nice one. Well worth setting the tripod up for, and it was the last frame on the roll as well. How fortunate was that? So as ever, thank you very much for coming with me on this ramble. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again soon.